Welcome to the Agent Edge, and we are spotlighting another top agent. And I know we're all super excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
And I would love to introduce Ashley. She is a top agent in the industry. She absolutely really cares for her clients and creates that great customer service that you don't always see in transactions nowadays. And Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much again for having me. I have been in real estate resale for about 10 years now. I actually come from a family of realtors. Both of my sisters are in real estate, and my dad started in new home sales. So I was just destined to be a realtor. I feel like I always say it was in my blood. And I, followed him to his new home sales as far as I could drive, and filled in for him a lot. And I think that's really where I got the love of real estate. And then I went resale, like I said, 10 years ago, and got out of the new homes. And yeah, I just am so grateful because I really love what I do. I feel grateful that I get to do what I love every day.
I love that.
Well, I guess I was going to ask, tell us about your real estate journey, but the initial part of that kind of covers it. What inspired you? Your family being into it. But I will ask, how do you stay connected to your community and grow your business?
That's a great question. I actually just did an event with Bree, and my girlfriend owns a flower truck company, and we park it right outside of a listing or community, and we give out flowers. My mom works at a restaurant in Cave Creek called Brisms, and sometimes we host happy hours there. But my kids, I have 3 children, and I think also with them in sports and, doing all of that, being part of the school, I think that's really important as well. And just kind of showing up in all of those, those kids' school, football. You just meet so many other parents that way. And I live in Cave Creek personally, and we just have such a great community up there. It really is. And Sandy, you're up there too, so
Yep.
But it's really special. There's something really special about that area, and so I love being a part of that community.
Yeah, it feels like it's very community centric up there, not like a huge metropolitan area so much as it is down here in the Phoenix area.
Yeah. Yeah. And, open houses, I feel like I am pretty much doing open houses every weekend on listings, and you just meet so many people that way and neighbors. So I would definitely say that too. Just doing open houses a lot, it just really keeps you involved with, the neighbors and the area.
Yeah, I love your sense of community. I love your commitment to your family. I think that literally you take care of your clients, whether they're sellers or buyers, like their family. And I know we've had somebody buy here and then end up leaving and going somewhere else, and of course they were using you. I mean, that's just because it's your heart. I would love to know, what do you think sets you apart to your clients from, I don't want to say the average, because I think what sets you apart is bigger and better than a lot of the other top people. Something that's unique about the experience you give your seller or buyer.
Well, I would say, again, having a family, John, my partner, he also comes from a family of builders and is in real estate. So I think just having, that overall support just really does help. And again, just loving what you do. I really do love what I do. I know I keep saying that, but I feel like when you work hard and it comes across just as your day-to-day, because it doesn't really feel like work. And you love helping people, like Sandy yourself, educating and just trying to help people to make the best decisions for themselves. And people always remind me, say, you're in sales. I don't ever really look at it like that. I always just want to come from like a helping, heart, a helping place. And try to make a difference in that way instead of being pushy or looking at people. And truly, I've been so blessed because I just have the best clients, and I feel like when they've literally become like family or, just great friends. And I think that says a lot too, just having great people.
Well, that's because you're a magnet to them.
I'm grateful for that.
Totally.
And that's why they refer you so much business.
Yeah. Got to take care of your people.
Absolutely. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in your real estate career so far?
Well, you might be able to write a book about that.
Yeah.
But
I would say just don't give up. Like we were just talking about taking the test. I mean, it took me quite a few times. I'm not really a test taker, but I find that to be true just in your day to day. I mean, real estate is very up and down, and sometimes you have great months and sometimes it's not the same. So just trying to be consistent and keep going and, be a yes person. And yeah, I would say just keep going and don't give up. I think a lot of people give up. A deal falls apart or they get disappointed, and you just truly have to just keep going and not let it affect you and just go on to the next and stay positive.
So what are the top 3 things that you wish buyers would do before starting their home search?
Well, I think that that's what we're here for. So it's hard to kind of answer that because I think we're here to guide them and help them. I have a lot of people that come to me that aren't qualified. They don't know what a title company is. So I would say, do their research on an agent, and see and make sure that they're getting someone that's, going to know A to Z and get them across the finish line and just help educate them and understand the process.
Sure. Someone who knows the market.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, it can be scary and, there's all these steps and everything. But if you have someone that's guiding you and helping you and understands what you need, and I think that's probably the biggest part. It really is you have to have a team, and you have to have your title people that are going to work for you. You have to have your lender that's going to work for you. So it really does take a village to, and I don't think everybody knows all those pieces. So probably just trying to find a good agent that will help them and get them, through the whole process. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I would love to know, we're in a changing market, and I'll say this is my 40th year of doing home loans. So there's pretty much always been a changing market, but we're in a market that's different with the internet and the news. It's 24/7. There's no getting away from it. And everything out on the internet or on the news may not be true. I'm just saying. If you have a buyer or a seller going, I'm kind of sitting on the fence. I'm thinking about not buying right now and waiting for the better market, right? What kind of advice do you talk them through if they tell you they're kind of sitting on the fence?
Well, I think it's about, just finding out why they're on the fence and trying to get through those objectives. I think a lot of people just don't have all the information. So definitely referring them to an expert like yourself that can, say, hey, this might look like this, but this is what we can do. We can get concessions. We can, get you a buy down, and then we're going to get you refinanced. So it's really just trying to get all their objectives of why they are on the fence. And I think that so many people want to be home buyers, but it is something that can be scary. So just trying to give them, all of the information, educate them, and figure out, why they are on the fence. And, is it finances? Is it?
Yeah, and it's so funny because I think people think, if you go watch a TV show or one of those reality shows, they think all you do is show 3 houses and then they make a decision, right? I mean,
so true.
It could never be further from the truth. Right. And I think, walking them through the process like you're mentioning and that I know you do, they think what they see on TV is real. And so being walked through it the way you do, they realize, this is the largest asset, right, that they're probably going to ever have in their life. You want to be with somebody who is willing to take the time to walk you through the process. 'Cause sometimes they think, oh, let's just get in the car and go. That usually doesn't turn out well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just had somebody that, 5 years they've been looking for a house, and sometimes it just takes some time and finding the right one. And, I think that a lot of people, a lot of my clients have been grateful for like a home warranty because they're like scared about the AC going out or something like that. And it's like just giving them, the list of people that you have that can help them for some of those things that might seem like, oh, this is going to cost a fortune, or, trying to give them references of what can help in the future and like that.
I think that's a huge testament to you, because most individuals that do sales, connecting, whatever you want to call it, for a living, aren't sticking around for 5 years, right? And that's just the true testament of it's not about the sale, it's about the service. And I know that for you, when you come into it, you may not be family at first, but by the time you've listed and sold their house or got them in the car and they bought a house, they become family.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
And you got a tight family, so I know that means something very, very, very special to you.
Family is everything.
So what's the most important factor in choosing the right home for a buyer? Is it price, location, or is it something else?
Oh gosh, all of the above. It really is true. And I have people actually that just came to the flower truck event, and they were just saying how grateful they were that I took them to Peoria, because they weren't even looking in Peoria, and they just love it so much there. So I really think, all of it. I'm a native here. I'm born and raised.
So am I. Very cool.
We're rare.
Yeah.
But, I think that, knowing your area, knowing price points, location, school districts, there's just so many things that can factor into that. And you really, like you said, showing 3 homes. I mean, you don't even really get to know your clients and just showing them 3 homes. So I really like to drive with them sometimes, because then you can communicate on the way there. What do you like about this house? But yeah, I think all of those are very important for people, and it's just figuring out, what's most important, and, just trying to make sure you're finding the right location and price point and payment. I mean, even price point, it really kind of breaks down to a payment and what they're content with payment wise.
Yeah, they certainly don't want to be house poor. So
exactly,
And location, I mean,
and it's so
I think
funny.
that's one of the most important. Let's be real. That's by far one of the most important.
And I think it's funny how sometimes you'll be like, they think I want to live between this street and this street and this street and this street. And then you take them and then you kind of think outside the box and show them something. And then they probably are like, oh, yeah, I didn't even know that.
They didn't even know it existed.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the people go with what's comfortable, what they think, they want to be in a certain place or a certain school. And you're kind of like a CSI investigator with them.
Completely.
You are.
To unravel things they probably don't even know that are so important about it.
Yeah. And, even with school districts, I think a lot of people look at, school districts, but now there's private schools and so many different options within there that, you can still find an area and maybe not be the school district you want to be, but, there's something that's great close by.
What would be something that, if you had a client relocating here, you've never met them before, where's the first place you suggest?
I always like to just, have a conversation and kind of break down their wants and needs. I'm always going to root for Cave Creek, I think. But I love being north of the 101 for me personally, because I feel like you're not too far from the hustle and bustle, but then it kind of quiets down. But yeah, just definitely having that conversation and breaking it down, what's most important to them, what are they looking for? Do they fly a lot for work, or are they going to be at the airport constantly? And obviously budget's a big thing with that, but yeah, I just, I like to ask a lot of questions too, and just see, what it is exactly that they need and want, and You know, some people say they have to have a pool. Well, then they fall in love with a house that doesn't have the pool and they put it in later. You know, so a lot of people like stick to this certain box, but you got to kind of show them everything and then break it down from there.
I don't think people realize how complicated it is. You know, I think, you know, because it's so much more. Kind of like your point is, you think it's about just looking at houses and writing the offer. And then one of the things that I know you're ridiculously awesome at is negotiating, you know, and then you're making sure that you have your clients back with a title company that's going to protect their assets as part of the contract, and home warranty and lender and home inspection and termite company. And it's like this whole circle of influence you have surrounding you that people just don't realize they don't need those people and those services until you get where you explain and walk them through the process, you know. And I think that that's the biggest thing I find funny after all these years is how surprised people are, how many people are involved in the transaction. I just talked to a client today, they're closing in recording, and he's like, I see your emails. I'm getting emails from like 20 different people. I'm overwhelmed, you know, and it's true. It takes a lot to bring you to the finish line, you know, football analogy, you write a touchdown of buying a house. And that's what you bring to them as their buyer or their listing agent, is the community around you that will help them bring it to the finish line. I think that's huge.
And, you know, even after the finish line, you know, it's like for people that are relocating, they don't have landscapers, they don't have a pool person, you know, they don't know the good places to go get lunch. So we always like to send something after to just some references that we have, because, you know, I'll be honest, a lot of people these days, it's hard to find good people. So when you have them, you really got to take good care of them. When it, you know, like a handyman, I'm so grateful. I have a great handyman, and I think that really helps, especially people that, you know, don't have people when they're just getting here, just having those great people that will show up for them too.
Yeah, I love that. So I know people are going to want to talk to you and find you. Where's the best place to get a hold of you? And whether it's website, email, cell, whatever they're going to want to talk to you after they see this for clients.
So call me at 602-291-4090. And then my email is soldbyashleych@gmail.com. And the same with my website, soldbyashleych@gmail.com.
Awesome. We'll make sure to have that in the video. And I'm super grateful. I know.
We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
we
much
love
so.
partnering
Thank
with
you
you.
for
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Not everybody
Love working
has
with
the
y'all.
same kind of heart and commitment, and it's clearly evident personally and professionally. So.
Yes.
You as well, Sandy. Thank you so much.